of the Clearly Crucial podcast. My name is Jesse Hallstrom, operations consultant. And really what we're here to do is to come together with entrepreneurs and really success members of the community and talk about the different levels of clarity and the power that that has in our own journeys, life, and success as well. And so with me today, I've got JD, Mr. Magnetic Mind Coach. How are you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing great. How are you doing, Jesse? Good to see you.
I'm doing fantastic. Just a bit of context. John and I go back a bit of a ways in our own entrepreneurial journey as well. He's got a very rich history in business and in life as well. And so it's been a pleasure to have crossed paths. And where I really want to begin, John, as you know, from what we talked about just briefly before we started recording, really, I'd love to hear a bit about your story as well. Like, because you've done so much in your life, what's really brought you to this point of self-development, professional development, and then helping others do the same through your coaching?
Hey, thanks for having me here, Jesse. Really, to put it in a nutshell, I approached a lot of life backwards, right? Making people, places, things, trophies, winning, president's clubs, summer leaders, chasing people, whatever it was. I put those things in front of, or put them up as my power, right? Put them in front of just taking care of myself and caring for myself and others around me, other things that were more important. And doing a lot of that and gaining a lot of success, but also a lot of failure along the way. Became a roller coaster, just getting more extreme each time. And decided not only did I need to straighten that out and find true structure and a true end result to focus on instead of bouncing all over the place, but it was it changed my world so much that I just felt compelled to share with other people. And I think we share a mentor who said, you don't know something until you can teach it to somebody else, right? So
yeah, of course. Going through it yourself is sometimes that most powerful version of it. So really just seeing the ways that that's impacted you, that's just really kind of drawing you to help do it for other people. Is that kind of what you're getting at?
Yeah, it gives me yes, I love doing it. I love what it's done for me. And it kind of gives me something to focus on, to put that I can see myself doing, right? Being it and to see other people go through that, right? I related a lot to recovery from alcohol, right? I spent a lot of years drinking and working hard, playing hard. And it worked for a lot of years, right? I had some liquid confidence in a lot of situations that ain't gonna lie, I had a lot of fun in a lot of places, but it got to a point where I started relying on that to get me through emotional things, right? And when it comes down to it, I think Tony Robbins said it best when I first started listening to him on cassette tapes a long time ago. I won't age myself with cassette tapes. I think that
I think you already have, but keep going. Like, luckily, I'm just old enough to remember cassette tapes, but we'll see how many people are watching do.
Yeah, but everything we do is to gain pleasure, avoid pain, right? And it truly is, and it really is. It is in the feelings, right? Our feelings truly are the gauge that tell us where we're at in our life and to ourselves, right? To our higher self, your inner self, to your true direction, whatever you want to call that, your true nature and purpose is what I coach people to, is one of your four core that you want to live life in every day, right? Living in your, and not just me, this is what I was taught through my mentors, right? To every day you want to live the life you love, right? Be the predominant creator of your life, live your true nature and purpose, and all of that living with health and vitality, regardless of any diagnosis or what some other opinion of your health and where you're at, right? If you've got oxygen coming in and blood flowing through you, you have some level of health and vitality. So you can take
Yeah, always doing the best with what you have, right? Because one of the great things I think I've learned from that area too is no matter the hand that you're dealt, it's always how you respond, not just but what you're given as well. So it's incredibly powerful.
So you speak a lot to that. So before I won my last Summit of Leaders in 2014, actually I was run over by a car in 2010.
Oh my goodness.
3 times and spent 12 weeks in a coma. So I went from the crippled guy with the good parking spot with the handicap placards. And when I decided to get sober, I was almost 260 pounds. So I was a pretty
Wow.
big guy. And I was crippled. I was crippled. My mind was crippled, and I acted like a crippled person. Right, I was gimping and limping everywhere. Today I'm back surfing. I'm little 200 and change. I'm way less, 40, 50 pounds less than I used to be, and it's mindset, right? I choose every day to be a guy that surfs and skateboards and plays around with my grandkids and has fun. Um, and when my mind does that, my body follows suit, right?
Mm.
And so it's so much in life we try to act and force our way into behaviors and things, and it's the mind first. It's how you feel about things and how you put your mind to things first that really make all the difference in the world. And
100%.
it is. And it took me a long time to realize that. I put a lot of other things in front of me and my life and everybody else that matters to me, right?
Yeah. Well, you mentioned a couple of really tough
Yeah.
situations that it would be hard for anybody to go through. Can you speak to a lot of those transitionary moments of going
Yeah.
from being in one position to the other? And what was really the point of clarity or the process even at which helped you really see the difference of where you were versus where you wanted to be or where you wanted to be heading?
Absolutely, because that is kind of, or not kind of, that's exactly what we coach to today, right? Is our conscious mind and how our mind works. And so clarity, a lot of it comes from the rules that we make for ourselves. And some of the rules that we've held on to since we were children, right? Most of your identity, actually 95% of your identity was created by the time you were age 7. If
Mm.
you if you even read some of the Bible or the Jesuits, you would tell you, give us a boy till the age 7 and we'll show you the man, right? That phrase was because that's how behavior is created, right? You were born and you spend the first couple of years unconscious, right? You're fed, your diapers changed. You're not doing anything other than, hey, somebody feed me and somebody change me, right? You got carried everywhere. Then you started somewhat conscious life, learning copying behaviors, right? Learn to watch what your mom and dad did, right? And learning how and what your brothers and sister did. And that's how you learned your behaviors. And but also a lot of that ancestral behavior came with you too, right? We can go deep into a lot of that stuff, but you do carry within you a lot of the emotions and rules, not only that you make for yourself, however you grew up, right? So we can talk about the trauma that I go through. Some traumas can be as simple as a little 3-year-old girl who loves to sing, loves her mom, and every day she's singing, and every day she's having a great day. And mom comes home, she sings to mom. One day, mom goes to work and has a really, really bad day. And as you know how bad days go, they kind of just build on themselves, right? Momentum kicks in, and bad riding home from work, almost wrecks the car, almost breaks her ankle, coming up the steps on the way home. Comes in the door, a little girl sees mommy and is happy to see mommy, starts singing even louder because it's mommy, and mommy snaps. And so, go to bed, I don't want to hear that crap, that's a terrible voice, blah, 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 whatever. Just scolds that child and sends her to bed because her mind's not in that place, right? And to that 3-year-old child, that's trauma, right? My mother, who meant the world to me, who's everything, right? It's the roof over my head, is the food that feeds me, is all the love I've known till now, right? All of a sudden is screaming at me because of my singing. That child will never sing again, right? If she's left in that wounding. And so those are the things that manifests in life, right? If that child's, a lot of cultures bring you out of your childhood, right? And if you go to a lot of the Indian cultures today, right? A girl, when she reaches the age of puberty, the women take her away and discuss with her things about life. Men and a lot of boys in a lot of culture at the age of 14, 15, they were taken out and had near-death experiences, right? To bring them into, right, the Indians of this, to bring them as, hey, you're not a boy anymore, you're a man, and you're responsible. and right, and taking, and that's a clarity, right? That's a big clarity you get in life. And we don't do that anymore, right? You learn life in middle school and in PlayStation, right? In movies, that's how people learn life these days. And so what those type of rules are the things that that girl later in life, she develops that rule in her mind into not raising her hand in class, into not standing up for the promotion that she knows she's way better than the 9 other guys sitting at that table. But because of that wounding she had when her mother ripped her a new one when she was 3, right? Or not, whatever. However it is, we all have these experiences, right? That's just a metaphor for those experiences. Right. And we make rules about them. And if we don't deal with them, we pack them down, right? And they become, that's what our emotions are, right? Your emotions, I think Dr. Joe Dispenza speaks very well of it when he talks about, you're mad at somebody for a little bit and then you're in a mood. Well, if you're in a mood, everybody knows you're in a mood because that guy did that to you. If you carry that mood for a little while, then that little while just starts becoming a behavior, right? And you carry that behavior for a little while, it just starts becoming your identity, right? You start becoming a bad guy just because of those little events that you never took care of. And I kind of shortchanged his description of how he did it way better, but I think you get the picture there.
Yeah, no, for sure. And there was one thing you mentioned there that I thought was really important, which is in this example, somebody can have, even a previous trauma that's manifesting itself in multiple different, often negative ways. But a lot of people struggle there, right? I'm sure that's a lot of people you work with. A lot of people don't have the clarity of what's even causing that. And then it's showing up in their relationships, their work, and it's this big struggle. And obviously, oftentimes they just don't even know what it is. And so it's not until you unpack that, right?
It's not just unpacking that, but it's also having clarity on direction, right? A lot of society and even our parents and people who love us have taught us out of their fear, right? And they love us, but they're teaching, right? It's the reason why 80% of the world's broke. Because you're getting taught by broke teachers and broke parents and broke friends and broke relatives how to handle money, right? The broke teaching the broke is kind of how it is. And everybody's got an opinion, right? And that's why you see things that happen in large groups and masses like that. Because of that, that type of mentality. So people, in a sense, you were taught to serve, right? You go to school, hey, raise your hand if you know the answer. What time is lunch at? What time is dinner at? Right? Those things, those type of behaviors, regardless if you're 300 and something pounds, what does it matter that habit that was ingrained in you about when breakfast is, when lunch is, and when dinner is, right? Those type of things don't serve you. And so you have to create different habits than the masses that go to work every day and don't weigh that much and don't, right? And it's those little things, but you even beyond that, right? The subconscious stuff, right? Girls should look like Barbie doll and guys should look like Ken, right? And if you have this kind of stuff, you're probably not very trustworthy. Beard or things, and it happens all the time because that's the way our unconscious mind works. It wants to take shortcuts, and that's what it does. And so we group people for our shortcut for our mind, right? So we don't have to think it through every single person's situation of why they got here and why they're acting like, oh, he's one of those. Right? We do it politically all day long, right? One of those Republicans, one of those Democrats, you name it, we group it, right? And it's kind of how the world is. And you were brought up that way. You need to get an A, not a B. Don't be a failure, right? What's a failure? Who determines you're a failure? Because you don't know what math is, like all the geniuses that know math, right? Come on.
Yeah. No, I like how you mentioned the the rules that we create for ourselves,
Right.
because that's so true. And it's all wrapped up in identity. It's funny you mentioned that. We talked about that on a previous episode.
Yeah.
And really what I find is, for me at least, the reason why clarity is so important is because in this example, like we all have true identities, but at the same time, our identities are being molded by our
Right.
experiences and our perceptions as well.
And what I do a lot of is in the beginning is the recode process. And what I do is I get into the field with you. And a lot of your when I get you into the emotion of that end result, what it is, it's a 5-step process. I get you in the emotion of that end result and what it's like to be that person that, let's say, is making 100,000+ a year and living a good life. And so I get you in that emotion. And then I have you rewind the tape back to where you are emotionally right now. Where are you at today? And then I have you make a scale of that resistance. What's the difference between where you're at today and where you're going to be at? And then once you determine that, right, your conscious mind wants to know the right and wrong, the smaller part of your mind that we think runs the show that really doesn't. It wants to know
Thinks it runs
that.
the show.
Yeah. And so we do that. We make that scale. And then I have you get back into that emotion in the end result. And I actually get in the field with you. So I get into innocence with you. I've been certified for this stuff. So I've practiced it quite a few times. And taking quite a few people through this actually in groups even. And so I get in the field with you and I go through I connect with your super conscious mind, the field, the ether, you want to call it. I connect with you and we go through a questioning process of your beliefs around your identity, a lot of things around your inner child, around your people pleaser, around a lot of different family history, family traditions, different chakras and energies that you hold deep-seated stuff in. And a lot of stuff even gets pretty deep into ancestral beliefs and things like that, right? A lot of fear about money comes along German lines before World War II, right? Rich families were actually murdered, slaughtered in their home, and the money was taken from them and distributed evenly, right? That's how they distributed the wealth before World War II. And so there were children and kids that grew up with absolute fear of money. It would kill you, right? If you were rich, you were dead. And so that literally created a fear of money generationally for lots of generations that dealt with that. And those are the things that we recode and get out of your way that you do. And over time, these are habits that you have and rules that you make in your own mind that have just developed over time. And so over time, you'll be able to recognize that, how you feel compared to what you're doing at the time. And you just develop creator habits and not trying to fix this stuff and take care of these woundings and all these things that keep you from doing what you really want to do, right? Find ourselves in that little oscillating bubble of, I really want to do this, but I got to fix this and get better at this before I can do this. Right. That's another version of it, right? So just a lot of things we do to ourselves that keep us from.
Thank you for sharing that journey too. And that's one of the things that I ascribe to, whether it's a deep personal truth or whether just a strictly logistical truth, is the solutions are easy when the way is clear. And so when you're talking about, because I personally believe that most of us have a lot of the answers to the problems we say we have. We just don't have the clarity to see them properly.
You actually have all the answers.
There we go.
When you're stuck in the problem and when your mind is in the problem, trying to think the problem, you don't leave the clarity, you don't leave the clear air, the clarity for the solution to come in, right? So
exactly, for
you
sure.
have the answer, you're just blocking it.
Yeah. And I know that this is something you help a lot of your clients with too, but for someone who might be watching, who's maybe going through something like this right now, what would you say is the number one thing that people can do right away to gain a better clarity of their own selves and their own problem awareness, I guess you could say, of their own state in order to move through it?
Be aware of what triggers you, right? Be aware of those things that set you off is the first thing to start with, right? And what is it that noticing how people react to you, right? In sales, we have to learn this a lot, right? Especially when you're trying to convince somebody to buy something, right? Or you're not getting, we're trying to lead them down that path.
Right.
But you want to understand how they react to you, right? And what their emotions are. So that's a good way to find out. But those are the little things, right? Understand how you react to your emotions.
100%. Awesome. That's a tremendous amount of value, John. Thanks for taking us through a lot of that stuff. I'm taking some notes too, as well, just along the way, especially like forming the identity by 7. That's a crazy one too, because I mean, as a parent, my oldest son is 2 right now, and so he's only 5 years away from 7, which doesn't feel like a very long period of time.
Yeah, well, but you think about it, you know how to speak by then, you know how to write, so a whole lot of your cultural world and your identity has been created, right?
And even that right there, that is a new level of clarity for me as a parent too, to know, okay, these are the timeframes that make an impact in this area, because that's going to then lead into how I interact with him, how I prepare for different events and all that kind of stuff. So huge value. Thanks for taking us through that. And that's why I love talking about this, because it's so foundational every area if you just look hard enough.
Right. And then yeah, I can go on from that, talk about accents from there, right? You lose an accent.
Indeed.
That's a whole different level of it.
Well, thanks again, John. So just for anybody watching this who's gotten some value out of this, tell us a little bit more about who you are, what you're doing, what you're up to nowadays, and where anybody can find and connect with you if they
Absolutely.
desire.
So I came from the world of sales, and I'm still in the sales world, but mostly, but that's who I coach, right? Mostly that's my customer, the high-end sales guys, the business owners. Those are typically who I relate to. Anybody dealing with health stuff. The end of the day, until you experience recode yourself and understand how your mind works, most people's egos will keep them from trying this, right? And keep them from doing this. And most people won't do this, right? They're comfortable with not knowing any better, right? In the Matrix, talk about the Matrix, right? The red pill and the blue pill. A lot of people stick with that red pill and just, I don't know what the deal is, but the red pill want to stay there, right? So, and that's what it is. But you know what? And that's the best example I can show people is experience of superconscious recode. We have an entire online university that teaches you what I teach so that you can understand this. Because at the end of the day, I just show you the structure. It's not about me, it's about the structure. And so you have online courses that take you through the structure. You have me that takes you through the weekly recode and keeps you on course. That's what it is. It's about creating habits around. But not just me, you have 7 other live teachers every single day. You have hundreds of other, thousands actually now of other people globally that are in an online community in Mighty as well. So I not only do one-on-one and bring people through the program, I also share a whole global community of people that are doing just this.
Nice. Well, keep up the great work. It's fantastic stuff.
Yeah, and so Virtual Mind Camp is the name of my coaching business. Yeah.
Do you prefer people check you out on LinkedIn, or what's your preferred? What's going to be easiest?
They can find Virtual Mind Camp, all one word, in LinkedIn. You can go to virtualmindcamp.com. I'm on Facebook under Virtual Mind Camp as well. So pretty much anywhere. I'm not doing TikTok yet, so I understand this. But
yet maybe that'll be for another future episode.
Yeah.
Awesome, cool. Thanks again, John. It's been fantastic. Thank you everybody for watching. We'll see you again next time. And
great to see you again, Jesse.
You as well, John.
Awesome. Take care.
All right.